Hello and welcome to the program. Since the beginning of the year, the UN peacekeeping mission in Donbas has been regularly put on a negotiation table concerning eastern Ukraine. But what does it mean for the occupied territories and how to put it in place? Joining us in our studio to tell us more about it is Oleksandr Levchenko, advisor to Ukraine's Minister for Temporarily Occupied Territories and Internally Displaced Person. Hello and thank you for being with us.
Hello.
So, first question, in an earlier interview you said this peacekeeping mission should be deployed according to, quote, the Croatian model. Can you expand on this?
We researched in history of United Nations peacekeeping movement that about thousands of peacekeeping missions were from the 1945, and Croatian peacekeeping mission was very successful and brought to Croatia peaceful reintegration of temporarily occupied territory. Actually, it's the main task to Ukraine, and of course it's very important to use peacekeepers in returning temporarily not controlled territory by Ukrainian government. In our view, this mission in Croatia, which was in 1996-1998, was very successful. The territory, by peaceful means, were returned to the Croatian constitutional space. And now we see this region with these important cities like Vukovar or Osijek. It's one of the interesting regions of Croatia with a high level of economy, tourism, and this region, now you couldn't say that in these regions where there were 25 years ago.
So what are the similarities in this scenario between Eastern Ukraine and Croatia at the time? Because maybe the history is repeating, but in the meantime, it was after an independence war, after the collapse of the Soviet Union. The context is a tiny bit different. What are the similarities?
Okay, we oversee a lot of conflicts, for example, in Bosnia, in Kosovo,
Balkans country.
in other countries. But, you know, this Croatia scenario very similar to Ukraine. Actually, I think that in Croatia was the first time used the means of hybrid war. And actually, when the conflict began in Ukraine in 2014, I see actually the same scenario what I saw 23 years ago. And after the first official visit of Prime Minister of Croatia to Ukraine in the autumn 2016, in which Prime Minister Andrej Plenković proposed to Ukrainian side to use Croatian possibility to study and to use this Croatian researches in reintegration of temporarily occupied territory. And after that, the President of Ukraine, Petro Poroshenko, Prime Minister Vladimir Groisman, decided that Ukraine should more precisely thinking and seeing for the result of this Croatian peacekeeping mission and the results of peaceful reintegration of temporarily occupied territory in Croatia. And now our ministry, after several visits to Croatia and a lot of talks with the participants of the peaceful reintegration, people which decided about the steps of reintegration temporary occupied territory. We thinking in our ministry that this Croatian experience the most available to Ukrainian side.
Now, I want to be a little bit technical here. You said also there are three components in this potential peacekeeping mission. So the military with 70%, police 15%, and the civilian component, which is quite interesting because what is the role of civilians here in a peacekeeping mission? Because you would thought, authorities or armed forces, at least, to keep peace.
And the most important in Croatian experience that this mission should be in the frame of transitional international administration. What does it mean? Three components. We have three components of this peacekeeping mission. 75% military component. For example, 15% police component, 10% civil component. Civil components, it's extremely important things which they should resolve. For example, all economy of this destructive region should have the support of the civil component. Education, culture, all things of normal life of people of temporarily occupied territory should be held and supported by this civil component. And Croatian experience, the mission should be about 2 years. And after that, they prepare this territory to transfer in the temporarily occupied territory to the owner of this territory. It's Ukrainian state. In our case, it's Ukrainian state. And of course, first of all, military component should stay at the line of struggle. Another line, very important, the line of Ukrainian-Russian border. It's about 402 kilometers not controlled by Ukrainian government border with Russian Federation. And then inside these two lines, effectiveness control at this territory. And police component support the rule of law at the period of functioning of this mission. And very important, the next step, disarmament of this irregular military first and second so-called corps of LDNR, according to the Article 10 of Minsk Agreement. And I suppose it should be the first and key important task to this mission, not only monitoring, but control this process of disarmament. After this process of disarmament, two sides signed the protocol, and which should fix all armaments in this special places, which should be, and then the next step in Croatian scenario, preparing for the next local election.
So for an official, so coming from a state of war to a state where the rule of law prevails. But so these numbers, and to enforce that, you also talked about 25,000 to 50,000 peacekeepers. How do you calculate these numbers? Is it just Croatian experience?
Yeah,
or just
it's
general,
normal.
general...
It's normal for this territory. It's not small territory. It's about 3.5% territory of Ukraine. It's about 6.6% of population of Ukraine. It's 2.8 million of people. But we are more realistic that 50,000 it's too difficult in the financial case, and too difficult to compose this peacekeeping component, because 50,000 you need.
It's a lot of logistics.
A lot of soldiers, a lot of policemen. More realistic scenario, about 25,000-30,000 peacekeepers.
Now, this is a turning point here. 2019 is going to be election year in Ukraine. And of course, this UN peacekeeping mission, how to ensure that this UN peacekeeping mission is implemented and goes after the election, that this goal stays after whatever the outcome is. Now, that is completely one of the goals of the next government.
Of course, the most important thing for realizing the idea of peacekeeping mission to Donbas is the resolution of Supreme Council of Security of United Nations, which should unanimous, without any vetoes, support this text for sending peacekeeping mission to Ukraine. Now, Ukrainian side with partners, French, German side, Americans, and British diplomats preparing new text of this former resolution of Council of Security. It's not easy. Of course, it's not so big text, about 2-3 pages, but very important that every point of this future resolution should be very clear, very clear. And after discussing of this text, actually, Security Council should send observing mission, financial mission, to Donbas, and calculate it what's the amount of this peacekeeping mission should have in the budget of United Nations. I suppose it's about $1.5 billion per year. Maybe
Roughly.
maybe 2 billion. It's a lot of money, but these financial specialists should prepare all and research all aspects of deployment of this mission, and after presentation to the Secretary General of United Nations, which then, after discussing with the specialists, proposing this amount to discussion to the permanent and non-permanent members of Security Council.
Well, thank you for this overview. It was a pleasure to have you in our studio to enlighten us about the future of this UN peacekeeping mission. We'll closely follow the case.
Thank you very much for the invitation.
That was Oleksandr Levchenko, advisor to Ukraine's Minister for Temporarily Occupied Territories and an internally displaced person. Thank you for watching the program and stay tuned for the rest.